From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening here, Tuesday evening on Lalate, with incredible news about your fourth stimulus check updated 2021. In breaking news, just for the first time on Evenings Lalate, the president calls the vote on the reconciliation process. You have the breaking news delivered in tonight's recording happening after afternoon's Lalate. I have all the details about the fourth stimulus vote now beginning in the next few days. I'll explain the details and what the president's team said. Then we'll be going over the fourth stimulus check, how much the Democrats want you to have and when they want you to have it. We'll be cutting to fifth stimulus. I had a lot of breaking news today as well. Not one, but three major breaking details about raising up your benefits if you're on SSI and SSDI, and a fifth stimulus check. Oh boy. And then in the middle of this video, we have thousands of dollars you can get right now, because that's how we do it on this channel. A lot of money and a lot of news breaking this evening. I'm excited to give you all these details. It's coming to you right now, this moment, this evening, right here, and starts this moment. It's Tuesday evening, and I hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful evening wherever you're tuning in from. It's cooling off. It did not get that hot here in Southern California, thank goodness. Beautiful onshore breeze as California celebrates its reopening today. Officially, its first day reopening since the pandemic. Hope the weather is good where you are. Jump in the live chat right now and tell me where you're watching from and how's the weather. Boy, we have a lot of breaking news tonight. Fourth stimulus got a real shocker as the president calls the vote for the fourth stimulus package. I'll be going over the details, when and where and why the president got a little bit pissed. I'm really excited for this news. Then we cut to fifth stimulus and the big money, including another stimulus check and the raising your benefits up, and the details about the big money you can get. There's a lot of stuff that's breaking just tonight you did not hear on afternoon's LA, because these details broke after afternoon's show was taped. These are new details you're hearing for the first time on evenings tonight. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. What is this? This is Lalate, the only 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial news channel in the United States. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Programming going across the board. When this show is over, stay with it. It'll automatically take you to Overnight's Crypto, our new hit show that goes for 15 hours. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Next stop, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that House bill and that Senate proposal starting this very moment. The House bill provides a monthly stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. The Senate proposal provides a monthly stimulus check, just not that long, rather July to December. Then let's compare the monthly payouts. House, $1,000 a month. After the first month of $2,000. Senate, amount unknown, but word on the street, the Senate Democrats want you to have this. Oh, yes, $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000 a person. Wow, wonderful. Or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400 a person. Yes. Now, let's go back to that House proposal, because at issue is how many months of checks. Pandemic plus 1 year? Not so. Some legislators think that the pandemic may be over and the House bill would get reduced to just 1 year. That would be $13,000 over 12 months from the House Democrats. Let's compare that to the senators over 6 months. Yes, get ready to vote right now. Jump into the live chat wherever you're watching from this 5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and vote House or Senate. Tell me which one you like. I think you have an opinion. House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. House or Senate, how's the weather? Boy, a lot of exciting news tonight on about fourth stimulus. First, let's go over the basics. How much? Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check if you got a third stimulus check. Individuals, $75,000 or less, you get a fourth stimulus check from the Democrats. Married couple, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Fourth stimulus check for family of four? Yes. Quadruple it from the Democrats. And the Democrats want people who are on benefits to have a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, congratulations. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. Good. The fourth stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check. So it does not come out in waves. So do not wave at the check, because the check will not wave back at you and you will think it's rude. Hi, check. Didn't wave back at me again. So rude. That's not a waveable check. It doesn't wave. The Democrats would be giving the same amount of stimulus check to adult dependents, minor dependents, and everyone else. And the Democrats would be calling the final vote by July 4th. That means that the Democrats would be giving you the fourth stimulus check for the month of July in the month of July, for the month of August in the month of August. And there you go. You can wave goodbye to the first of three parts of our fourth stimulus check update of 2021 in this video. But coming up in the second part is the real exciting news. Biden does it. He puts down his foot or his boot or his loafers or his tennis shoe or his sneaker and says, enough is enough. I'm calling the vote. Oh, boy. I like when he gets pissy. And I'm real excited to give you these details coming up later in this video. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus. And fifth stimulus had some wonderful news this morning. Consumer Price Index, CPI, and also PPI, and Lalate I. You know, there's a lot of I's in this show. So we'll be going over the incredible details about that CPI and PPI, then now focusing on the inflation rate. And we'll see why that inflation rate will be so high, a lot higher than anyone anticipated, and will lift your benefits up an enormous amount. It's wonderful. Plus a fifth stimulus check on top of that. Oh, there's so much coming up in the second half of this video, so stay with me. But first, let's get some money. We're going to go over a lot of money. And if you're new to this channel, that's what I do. I get people money. We aren't tracking checks. We are cashing checks. This is not the Psychic Check Network. You're not calling 1-877 stimulus here. I'm not Mr. Cleo or Mr. Leo or any Leo or Cleo. I am Lalate. And in this recording, we're going to get you a lot of money. So get that pen and paper ready, or if it's a Crayola crown, make sure it matches the Crayola blue. And please don't ask me if I'm a Cardinals fan or a KC fan. That's just putting me on the spot there. I'll wear red tomorrow, so it'll even out it. I'll even out my Missouri questions. I'm kidding. Royals versus Cardinals. Stop it. All right, let's get that Crayola crown ready. Pen and paper. Let's go over the details. There's a lot of money available for you for third stimulus. Thousands of dollars. And it is rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, homeowners utilities. I'm excited for you. And that rent is about $5,000 of rent, about 4 to 6 months of rent. So go get it. Don't worry. I'm going to show you where it is. First, what I need you to know is each place has different eligibility. So if one says no, don't worry. The next one will say yes. And it's important to understand that there's money for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners utilities. Oh, it's wonderful. This is third stimulus. And that's what I do on this channel. I give people a lot of money. And if you got a penny for this channel, jump in the chat right now. I got a penny, or I got 10 pennies, or I got a dollar, because inspire someone else. And Tim and Linda got this money. What is it? Got that pen and paper ready? Here we go. You're going to reach out to City Hall, City Housing Authority, County Hall, County Housing Authority, State Hall, State Housing Authority, to get that rent or mortgage assistance. The keywords you're going to say to them is rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance because of COVID. That's all you say. You don't say words they don't know. Who does that? You don't say words like stimulus. They don't know that word. Or Mitch's Lobster Bake. Oh, sir, that's down the street. Sorry, wrong number. No, don't say those words. You got to say words that they know. Well, the next pot of money is wonderful. And one viewer has gotten $6,000 for this last week. Another viewer yesterday got $5,000. Lynn Glenn got for her son, for her mom, and herself. And Gail got it. Oh, it's so wonderful. It is SNAP, money for your food. So go get it. How do you get it? From Department of Agriculture. Reach out to them, DOA, and ask to get on SNAP. Eligibility is about the same as a stimulus check. How much does it pay? A lot. A family of 4 in Hawaii now gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow. Why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders, one from Biden and one from Trump, that raise your benefits up, everyone's benefits up, automatically, nationally, 15% between now and December. So go get it. There you go. We're killing it. You're killing it. We're crushing the stimulus. We're crushing something. I don't know. Crushing the grapes. $16,000 for SNAP. and $5,000 for rent, approximately. And we're only 10 minutes into the video. Well, I got more money for you right now, and it's $5,000. The federal government has ordered states to return money back to you that they had overpaid you due to computer errors. Not your computer. Your computer works fine. It's them and their Windows 98. The federal government has said, states, your computers are just old, and it was not the fault of the viewers that your computer was old. They should have been able to keep the money. So the federal government has ordered the states to return the money back to you. Yes, one viewer got $5,000 for this. How much money can you get? Depending on how much you're overpaid. When do you get it? Reach automatically, but reach out to your state for routing times. And then the last pot of money is just wonderful. Ka got it, Margaret got it, another viewer got it, Michael got it on Facebook. If you got it, drop in the comments right now that you got it. You know what it is. It is money back from IRS for that tax refund on the unemployment assistance. Yes. Let's go over how much you're going to get, when you're going to get it, how to track it, and what are the details. The details are, it's the taxes you paid on the unemployment assistance on that 2020 return to IRS. So let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment assistance. You paid $5,000 total tax bill, of which $4,000 was your taxes on the unemployment assistance. Congratulations, you're getting back a check of $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, if that was on your tax return. Otherwise, in the mail. When? The month of June. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password, do a transcript search, and 70% of the time it works. It'll show the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid, and the tax refund you're getting. Oh my goodness, can we get better than that? We can. And it's the second of your third update of the fourth stimulus check of 2021, starting right now. Biden did it, and then Biden did it again. He's done twice, two things. What is the breaking news you're hearing for the first time on Evenings LA that happened after, that's a tongue twister, that happened after Afternoons LA was taped? The president put his foot down. I'm glad he did. He put his foot down. And while he is currently in Geneva about to meet the head of Russia, Vladimir Putin, he had his staffer back in the United States say, I see that these people are trying to have negotiations. More about that silliness in a second. But the president said, you can do whatever you want. I'm in Geneva. But I got to tell you, I'm coming back. And on Monday, the reconciliation starts voting and passing it, because we're not going to hold up for anyone, and we're not going to hear any more negotiations come Monday. We're calling the vote starting Monday. I love when he's aggressive. I love when he's forceful. If only he had just cracked the whip on this a few weeks earlier, we would have been a lot more happy. Viewers were asking me, when do they start the 9-step process? You've learned the 9-step process now by watching my videos. And I said, they can do it together. They can do them in stages. Well, he's cracked the whip. He has finally cracked the whip, and I'm going to show you later in this video why he cracked the whip. It's very obvious why. He got pissed off. Why he cracked the whip, because it's just, stop playing games. Let's call the vote. He's going all jalapal on them. I love it. And what was the other part of this? Well, the other part of this, Biden did it, is that on Saturday, he signed into law an international treaty which raises the corporate tax rate internationally and anchors forced stimulus right to the finish line, to the edge of the finish line, removing no longer the provisions no longer needed in forced stimulus about corporate taxes, certain parts, and now sets it up beautifully to pass with the Democratic caucus. Wow, he is on his game in the last few days. He is. I'm going to go over all those details right now, and it starts with the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, when Leader Schumer announced not one but 3 details, which I've been telling you that have been happening. Number 1, that the reconciliation process was already underway. Number 2, that it would be finished by July 4th. Number 3, that it would finish with a passage by July 4th. Well, how did we get to that point? Jalapal was cracking the whip with Chuck. Jalapal had written Chuck a letter saying, call the vote, Chuck. I could think she should have written one for the president. Call the vote, Chuck. Now, who co-signed that letter? 12 House Democrats. They're among the 100-plus House Democrats who had written the president a letter a week earlier saying, when the fourth stimulus goes to drafting, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks into the fourth stimulus package. Oh my goodness, that is wonderful. Specifically, they wanted the House bill in the fourth stimulus package. Wow. Can we top that? We can. When 7 House Democrats wrote the president a letter about a week ago saying, when we this is them talking, when we write the fourth stimulus checks, we're going to be making them monthly in the fourth stimulus package. What? Who are these people to say that? These are the people that are on the subcommittee that's solely exclusively responsible for writing stimulus checks. Really? Did they write the first stimulus check? They did. Did they write the second stimulus check? They did. Did they write the third? They did. So they say now they're going to be writing the fourth? They do. And they've also confirmed the markup of the bill is currently underway. Are they writing a fifth stimulus check? They claim they are. That's coming up in the second half of this video. OMG. Wow, now that's wonderful news. Which brings us to the big news right now, which started on a recent Tuesday. On a recent Tuesday, I told you the president was doing something complicated and I needed to slow it down to make it clear to you because that's what I do on this channel. So let me slow it down again. Fourth stimulus involves raising the U.S. corporate tax rate to pay for it. What is the U.S. corporate tax rate? The tax rate that corporations in the United States pay. Pretty easy, yeah. So what was the president concerned about? He had told us that he was worried if he raised the U.S. corporate tax rate, that U.S. corporations may leave the United States and move overseas where a corporate tax rate may be lower, let's say France. So he reached out to countries around the globe of the G7 nations and said, let's raise up the global minimum corporate tax rate so that businesses don't leave our soils and move elsewhere trying to find a lower rate. And those countries agreed. Good. So what did that president also do on that Tuesday? Well, he had told insiders that after fourth stimulus is passed, and then let's say about October, November, December, he would reach back to those G7 countries and get them to sign on the dotted line. And if they did, then he would drop the U.S. corporate tax rate closer to where it is right now. Wow, now that's wonderful news. So what did he do? Biden did it. He surprised us all. Even though I told you 2 Fridays ago something was up and that you need to stay with me, and I told you the following Saturday he was going to do it, finally he surprised us. When this last weekend overseas, he had the G7 countries sign into law the treaty now, not after fourth stimulus, but now. It's insanely wonderful because now he's anchoring fourth stimulus right to the edge of the finish line because no longer those provisions needed in a fourth stimulus, they're now in the international treaty, making it easier to pass fourth stimulus among the Democratic caucus because those provisions are no longer needed. They're in the international treaty. He did it. The only thing that's better than that is what he then did today. Breaking news you're hearing for the first time on Evenings Lalate is what the president did was he had heard about something I was reporting on since last Friday. I call it the fake narrative. A group of people tried to take the narration of the fourth stimulus off the rails. The protagonista, the telenovela, the problem creators, Mitt Romney, that sort of false narrative. The president overseas in Geneva told his staffer to fire back and seemingly displeased with people trying to erode the whole discussion of where we're going and the whole process, fired back bluntly, severely, and perhaps with a little bit of angst to it, saying, you're going to stop this come this Monday. We're calling the vote. Calling the vote in the recon? Yes, step one. I love it. I love it. He cracked the whip and said, no, you're going to stop this. I get right off of your soils and you start playing these games. You are stopping these games. And we are calling the vote in the reconciliation, or not me, but the congressional leaders are calling the vote in the reconciliation. Step one, starting Monday. You are not going to keep on playing these games. I love it. I love it. It's what you have been asking about. And here we go. Can we top that? We can't top that. It's the volunteers. The volunteers are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and they'll help you get that rent, utility, mortgage assistance, and homeowners assistance if you need it. Reach out to them. They're on the community page. They embody the true spirit of the Purple Power. What's the spirit of the Purple Power? People helping people. When this channel launched, I got people $25 million for EID alone to save their businesses, save their homes, save their employees' homes as well. But in 2020's fall, we weren't seeing second stimulus go out the door, so I got people $250,000 of rent and utilities. Well, the volunteers are back again, and they're helping you get that rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, SNAP. If you're having problems finding it, don't worry, reach out to them. How do you find them? open the description of this video. In the description, there's a link to the community page with an emoji of a house. Click the link, news.lalate.com/community. Takes you to the community page. There's a picture of some kitty cats. They're not the volunteers. They're just kitty cats. Lower on the page is the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them. But coming up in the second half of this video, we have more exciting news about fourth stimulus. A lot of exciting news about fifth stimulus with that new stimulus check. Stay with me. The exciting details comes up in the second half of this evening's LA Tuesday night broadcast. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Late Daily for the excitement of the new LA Late live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA Late at 9 a.m. Home LA Late returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now from Santa Monica, California, as the mask mandate in California is lifted after over 1 year. California residents can now enjoy and go freely as they so wish without a mask mandate. No vaccination card is required, and the weather is beautiful tonight. How are you? Thank you for joining me on Evenings LA. How is the weather where you are? Drop in the comments right now where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus, more exciting details. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you to subscribe and be part of this family. I want you to be part of this family. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Boy, we have a lot of stuff coming up in the second half of this video, so stay to the very end. And also stay with this video. When it's done, it'll take you automatically to Overnight's Crypto right after the show is over. So let's go over the no less than 4 stories, breaking news, when we talk about fifth stimulus tonight. There's just a lot. The first one, of course, is the stimulus check. Those 7 House Democrats indicate that there will be a fifth stimulus check. When would that likely land? January 2021 is what I'm thinking they're thinking. They're thinking that fifth stimulus goes to a final vote in November. It's hard to send out a check in December because of the holidays. So likely to start in January. Fourth stimulus instead would be this year. That's the first breaking news. Second breaking news, the president's dedicating $1 billion to the Social Security Administration Fund to ensure that checks go out to you faster and on time. This includes stimulus checks, benefits checks, and would stop all that nonsense we had earlier this year. And trust me, I couldn't stand making those videos. Third stimulus check, Direct Express by Comerica. It's not here. It's in wave 4.2, which comes in, and the routing times. It's awful. People just get their checks together. Why can't we just have a government where the checks all land at the same time? Is this so difficult? Well, he's trying to solve that by dedicating more money for computer systems, staffing, to ensure payments go out together. Wonderful news. And then, boy, the inflation rate. Okay, so now this is fifth stimulus. You clearly understand now from the recordings that fifth stimulus has a new benchmark, and that benchmark is inflation. And you've clearly seen me over the last few weeks evolve from saying the inflation rate in December would be somewhere between 2 to 7%. And I talked about Jeremy Siegel once saying 20%. Well, and then I started to say, well, it could be higher. And then I could say, well, it could be a little bit higher. Today, it all sort of changed. You looked at broadcast media this morning, and they collectively were saying, middle of the road, mainstream broadcast media were saying financial news channels. So saying current inflation rate is about 4%. Yeah, they're currently saying we're much higher than anyone thought. 4%. And they think it's going to hit about 10% later this year. Wow. Now that's a whole lot different than 6%. So 10%. Why? Because of a series of three things going on. One, the producer price index number was released this morning. It's much like the consumer price index number from Thursday. It shows prices of goods are just going up very, very fast. Number two, they're going off of their analysis, not the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve will not say these numbers because they don't want to spook Wall Street. So now suddenly people believe the inflation rate will hit a transitory or temporary peak in the end of the year of about 10% and then come back down. This is huge for your fourth stimulus because that's when they apply your benchmark. Let's go over how that works and the calculations starting right now. This SSI and SSDI reform is fifth stimulus. And they'll raise your benefits up one time, then apply a new asset limit, apply an inflationary benchmark, which is what we're talking about, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income exclusion. Let me go over how this calculates and why the timing of this big inflation spike is what you have to really hope for is November, December. So first, I'm going to raise your benefits up one time. That's pretty easy. Who's you? You. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, then they're going to apply a benchmark. That benchmark is inflation. Now, they apply the benchmark in November, December every year for the next year. Pretty easy. Yeah. So what's the inflation rate going to be? Well, we all see it's going to be a lot higher. Okay. When is it going to hit that peak that Lalate was just talking about? It's 4% now, potentially. It's going up potentially at 10%. When is it going to hit that peak? You want to hope it hits that peak right when they apply your benchmark of inflation in November, December, because this is what would happen. Your benefits would rise up 10% with that benchmark. Not just next year, lifetime. Because when they apply the benchmark, you never step down. You stay the same or step up the year after that. So the inflation rate next year, if it goes down to 1%, then you're at +1 plus 10% next year. You would always be at this plus 10% if that is the peak hitting when they apply the benchmark. Then they're going to remove the asset cap. Dating back to 1980s law that says you can't stay on benefits and have $3,000 in hand. It's going to go away just in time to get those stimulus checks in your hand. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work. Now you'll be able to work and stay on benefits, and they're going to remove the marriage penalty. Finally, love is going to win, and you will be able to marry your longtime love interest, no longer fear benefits, loss of benefits, or being penalized. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to be married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That is fifth stimulus. Now, it's important to understand that there's a lot of money available for you in third stimulus, thousands and thousands of dollars. It's law. But if you don't know what it is, then you're not going to get it because a lot of it's application-based. And as we enter into July, these stimulus packages are starting to overlap, third, fourth, and fifth. So consider becoming a member. Members are sent from me daily a breakdown of everything in third stimulus that you can go get. Fourth stimulus, what's proposed, and fifth stimulus, what's proposed. If you're watching the live chat and you're seeing people with Purple Hawks, they're members. They're people who are getting those daily breakdowns of all the monies that they can potentially go get. And they're informed and educated. So they don't need to guess what's in third versus fourth versus fifth. So consider becoming a member so you know the money you can get across the board. This link is in the top of the chat in the pinned comment. Which brings us now to the fourth stimulus with no less than 4 last items to go over. First, my personal message. Second, the routing times and the voting times. Third, the fake narrative, which is now very important in view of what the president said. And number 4, calling the vote. First, my personal impression. It's important to understand that when we're doing fourth stimulus, this is not the psychic stimulus network. And nowhere should be the psychic stimulus network. Not at your dinner table, nowhere else. You should not be having conversations saying, what do you think? How do you think? Do you really think? Who do you think? I haven't heard. Do you have heard? Have we heard? What do you predict? What do you think? Are you predicting? No. This is legislators. What do legislators do? They draft things, and then they modify the draft, and then they give it to someone else, and then that person modifies the draft. So a House member could have a bill and propose to give you a lot of stuff, but then when it goes over to the senator, he or she could take it all out. The same reverse could happen. The senators could want to have a lot of stuff in there, and then the House members may want to take it out. The whole process is very fluid, and so understand no one should ever be speculating, trying to predict, or trying to think that they're psychic of stimulus. Psychics of stimulus don't make sense. I'm not Mr. Cleo, and no one else should be Mr. Cleo when it comes to psychic predictions. That's why we have two emojis on this channel. It's not bill yet, and it's not law yet. Not to be a donut, and not to be a psychic either. Next, it's important to understand the time frame in which things are done. 9 voting steps. The first half are procedural, the second half are substantive. Step 5, 8, and 9 are the most important. Let's go over them, and then I have some impressions for that as well coming up in a second. First, step 1, procedural vote in the House subcommittee. Step 2, procedural vote on the House floor. Step 3, Senate procedural vote. Step 4, the President signs into law. The procedural bill, the tow truck has passed over the finish line. Time to go back and get the tow hitch, the substantive bill. Step 5, the very important House subcommittee finishes marking up the bill that we heard earlier in this video and calls it for a vote. It's at this point that the stimulus checks could be in there from that House subcommittee. Step 6, the House subcommittee votes on the substantive bill. Step 7 and 8, the critical 2-day vote-a-rama in the Senate. The senators can do one of 3 things based upon what they receive from the House. 1, if the House had no stimulus checks in there, they can add them in there. Number 2, if the House had stimulus checks in there, they can leave it alone if they like it. Or number 3, if the House had stimulus checks in there and the senators don't like it, they can amend it. And step 9, the president signs into law. Now, why is this so important to understand these 9 steps in view of what happened with the president just late today? Because you've been asking me some really wonderful questions on social media. When are they starting step 1? Now we know, and we certainly knew when they're finishing at step 9, that's July 4th, but we didn't know when they were starting with step 1. The president's made very clear that come next week, they are starting step 1. Now, here's what's also important to know, is that they've sometimes done these 9 steps differently over time. In previous years, they've sometimes done 4 steps and taken a month or 2 off. Sometimes they've done the 9 steps day after day after day. Sometimes they've done multiple steps in the same day. So there's a lot of possibilities. You can look at the calendar and certainly understand the necessity of getting these done and also the possibility of getting multiple steps done, steps on the same day. Which brings us then to the fake narrative. I'm laughing because the fake narrative was so wacko that I understood it was wacko. I told you in advance, ahead of time, that it was wacko. I told you over the weekend that the fake narrative at issue was so fake that I wanted to have you informed about it in the event that you continue to hear it this week so you would understand it's much of nothing. Ironically, the fake narrators of the narrative were being a little too boisterous, and they clearly made the president angry. And he came back and said, stop it. You stop it right now, and we're calling the vote on Monday. I don't want to hear any more from you come this Friday. Wow. Now, that is incredible. Now, I want to make something very clear so you understand the scope of this reporting. It's not that the reconciliation process will start this next week. It's that the voting on the reconciliation process, which is already underway, will start. Also understand that these people often say days and they don't mean exactly that day. So maybe it's Tuesday they call the first vote. So that is absolutely huge. Why did this get the president so perturbed? Because 1, it's so late in the game. 2, it was so fake. It was just fake. There was not 1, but 2 or 3 different forces at issue. Force number 1, the prom creators, who just I was going to say something, I'm not going to say it. Prom creators in 2020 did nothing for anyone. They did nothing for anyone. They consistently came out with prom creator idea number 1 and prom creator number 2 in their pamphlets. They never had bills. They never cared to even write a bill. And nothing ever went from point A to point B. But what did they get? They got a lot of self-promotion. And then there was Mitt Romney, who's a nice guy, but he writes a lot of bills, of which never see light of day. And then there was the protagonista on Friday. The protagonista didn't represent anyone, didn't represent the Democrats, didn't represent the Republicans. And if that was not enough, You know, of this entire universe, I think the last one is the one that sort of put me over the edge. Maybe it put the president over the edge. Ron Portman. Really? Ron Portman? I mean, why don't you just use Ron Johnson to make everyone just really angry? I mean, Ron Johnson's negotiating a stimulus check. I mean, say it with a straight face. Yeah, like, if you remember who Ron Johnson is, then you understand the joke behind that. But Ron Portman is just like one step behind Ron Johnson. These are people who absolutely don't want you to have anything. Ron Portman was disparaging the American worker in 2020, saying you're lazy, you will not get back to work in July of 2020, when the virus was rampaging American. He said you are not entitled to any FPC, you should never have FPC, you're lazy, all that type of stuff. And this guy's coming around trying to negotiate bipartisan stuff. He's about as partisan a person as you can be, and his ideology is not centralist. So and needless to say, today he was out running his mouth. And if that's not the icing on the cake, he's quitting. He's out the door. He's not running for re-election. So he's not running for re-election, so he can't be real because no one would vote for him. So I think the Ron Portman may have put the president over the edge. I don't know. That's just my personal impression. It certainly made me just say, really? I mean, come on already. Can you give me someone like a Pat Toomey or a Mitt Romney, at least, in the room, but Ron Johnson? So I think that was why the president said, stop it. I don't want to hear from Ron Johnson. I don't want to hear from Ron the other Ron either. Ron Johnson. I don't want to hear from any Ron. I've been run around enough with the Ron. So there you go. And finally, Purple Power. You need to push. You need to push. We're in the final stretch. We're in the final days. You absolutely need to push, whether it's the telephone or it's the internet. Whether it's a letter writing or something, they need to hear that you need this money. The difference between 2021 and 2020 is that they may not think you need the money because they don't hear from you. They see you back to normal. They see you in a movie theater. They see you at the amusement park. Do these people really need a stimulus check? Are they really hurting? They need to hear why. That you have debts, that you're not reemployed, that the situation's at issue. So go on social media. Tweet your elected officials. Hashtag MSC. Hashtag Purple Power. Tweet your Democratic senators, tweet your Democratic House members. If you don't have any, tweet someone else's state's Democratic House members and Democratic senators. Tweet people on the House Ways and Means Committee. That's something I've not made very clear. Tweet them as well. Tweet the president. Tweet the president's chief of staff. Call them up. Be very, very respectful. And speak your mind. So they see that the electorate's saying, we need this. We need this help. And with that, I look forward to seeing you next on Overnight's Crypto. It's right after the show. Stay with this show. This video, it'll take you automatically 6 seconds after this video is over right into Overnight's Crypto and get the opportunity of a lifetime to learn how cryptocurrency is done. It's very easy. After a few days, you'll be able to understand all the details. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful evening. Stay here, stay focused, and stay with Lalate for more.